So this week we thought it would be good to have a special episode or some bonus content related to the video that was produced by the company last week, starring Henning and Christina. Welcome to Fireside 42 podcast. So like I said, this is a bonus edition. We sat in a room with some of the bargaining committee members and your host, Rob Walden from Fireside 42, to go over the video, just to kind of do some live comments. So we played it in the background and we stopped it here and there where we felt like we had some comments to insert, maybe some discussion that needed to be had about that, as well as some clarification that needed to be provided, just to give some, more information of what's going on with the bargaining process currently. So that's what we're going to do. Enjoy the show.
I know it's been quiet recently and may feel like negotiations have moved more slowly. That's natural.
That's bullshit. Okay, we gotta stop there. We gotta address that. All right. How many times have they postponed meetings?
All day, every day. So and the most recent example is that last week they were supposed to present us a piece of language on Thursday night. And then she's like, oh, well, maybe it'll be tomorrow. And then it was like, oh, maybe it'll be first thing Monday. It's Wednesday. And we still don't have these letters that literally cost the company $0. It literally cost them zero money to have these securities in place. And we're still waiting on it.
The other thing too is we're doing a podcast right now, right? We're not sitting there having a conversation with the company.
Right.
Why are we doing this right now? Because we're not meeting.
Also, the message that the company is sending to the membership is the same message we're getting right now, right? We're being transparent. They're telling us all these things they're doing. They're not actually doing it. So we get the same thing from them in the room. We're going to do this. We're going to do that with the language that you provided. But then they don't. And it's just silent, just crickets.
And when we do meet, they will have a meeting to discuss having a meeting. And so there's been times where we brought up issues with healthcare and she'll say, oh, well, let's have a meeting and talk about it. I was like, well, we're here right now. Let's talk about it now. But they're not interested in that. And it's like they keep trying to give us the runaround. And even in our subcommittees, we've literally had to just kind of verbally pin them down. It's like, okay, we have to talk about this. We have to work through these issues. And you have to listen to the real, what she calls horror stories that are happening to us, especially when it comes to healthcare.
There's nothing natural about this. I mean, they're making meetings, they're talking about having meetings, and then they're not showing up to the meetings that they're having you wait on. I mean, it's not just not natural, it's disrespectful.
At this stage of negotiations, what I've been used to in the past with different companies is we've already ironed out the majority of the situations, right? Everything, all the demands, everything for membership. We should be back and forth right now proposing to each other, whether it's non-economic language that's left or economic proposals back and forth. We should be just meeting for 5, 6, 7 hour stretches, caucusing, coming back, with ideas to each other, but they're not doing that.
It's doing what they are always doing with everything else. They're kicking the can down the road. They don't want to make a decision on the spot. They don't want to be held accountable for the decisions that they could be making. And instead, they want to just point the finger at the region or, back to Germany. And this is what we still need. We don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. Keep going on and on and on.
Yeah, my boss might think I suck if I agree to something. I'll never get promoted that way.
Right. Yeah. All right, well, let's see what she has to say next.
Negotiations have moved more slowly. That's natural as we get closer to a deal.
No, it's not.
Behind the scenes, we're working hard to reach an agreement that improves your workplace experience. That's why we've offered a 20% raise.
Let's talk about the natural piece. You had some questions on the natural piece. That's natural that it takes this long. It's natural for them to drag their feet.
Yeah,
I mean, really true.
But you know how much time and energy it takes to have a pre-planning meeting, a meeting about a meeting for the meeting that you're going to have later about that meeting? That's a lot of work for the company. They've only got $20 billion to pass around.
The reason why they're saying they're bargaining, right, or they're hiding, because first they mentioned Chattanooga, right? We're Chattanooga, we're this, we're that. Then, okay, we're one plant, now we're NAR, blah, blah, blah. But regardless of the fact, NAR is a facade because all this goes back to Germany. Mm-hmm. And the true key decision makers are in Germany. They aren't here.
That's it.
That's our biggest issue.
Yeah, they keep building walls to keep the accountability off of themselves. And you see it in the plan all the time. It's like your supervisor can't make a decision, go to the AM. The AM can't make a decision, go to the manager. the manager now has to go through planning and finance and however many other departments and get their yay or nay before they go forward. And so, they just keep those walls up. It's like, it's not going to be Christina's decision. It's not going to be somebody else's decision. It's going to be on and on and on until we figure it out.
It's an open door policy, but they have invisible walls. So, but once you go to them and talk to them about these things, they don't have an answer for you. Just like they don't let people comment on their videos on YouTube.
They
where they
did
can ask
at
questions.
the very beginning.
By the
For
way,
like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, you guys comment on our videos all you want to. You want to call me a fucker, you go right ahead. You say what you got to say.
He is. He really is.
Yeah.
That's why we've offered a 20% raise and why we've found ways to take on more of your healthcare costs. These are not just numbers or policies. They are commitments to you.
No, they're not.
I want to be very transparent with you.
Okay, we got to
Auto-inject-
stop with that. Okay, I can't let that one go by. That is such horse shit. That's how we say it back where I come from. That's utter horse shit. But Angel, tell me, what do you?
I mean, you're being transparent. You're giving your emails and stuff for people to reach out, and people reach out, and all they hear is crickets. So your transparency is basically, I'm going to shit on the UAW, make it seem like they're not doing anything, when in the reality is we've been trying to meet them in the middle, or at some point we've come off so many key areas that not necessarily come off, but just tried to meet them like, hey, where can we get this? How can we get this? What path can we use? And they just don't have nothing for us. And then they say, oh, well, we're going to bring somebody, you're going to talk to them, and nothing transpires. Yeah, we're going to do an all-day thing, and it turns into 30 minutes. So, I mean, your transparency is a bunch of fucking bullshit. I mean, to be honest with you.
There it is. He found his word.
They have
And it's like you try to feed all this nonsense to people. Honestly, I think it's very disingenuous. And not only with it being disingenuous, you're basically trying to like play people for fools. Like you think, oh, because we're in Chattanooga, it's a bunch of idiots. No, it's not. It's a lot of smart, hardworking people down there. And you're basically just toying with them. So,
Who do you think writes this script? Because you see him reading from the script.
I mean,
they always use the same words, and it's got to be a script, right?
She looks like she's reading from they both look like they're reading from a teleprompter of some kind. I don't know if it's a PC or if. Hey, by the way, if you guys are wondering what's happening right now, a couple of our bargaining guys are going to go to a meeting because
We bargain.
they bargain. So
try to.
at least sometimes they're getting together with the company.
Yeah, so that's the thing Kayla brought up earlier, right? We are moving on some things, but it's not economical things. It's small pieces of language that are very important to us that we need to get. We continue to meet on those things. There's several things out there. I think Chuck mentioned a number of 23 or so open demands, even in the last meeting that he went over, each and every one of them. So we are meeting on that. We are making some progress on it, but that's about it.
All right. Well, let's keep on. Let's see what else they got to say. Must watch
Volkswagen
TV.
Chattanooga is no exception. These dynamics are impacting negotiations. We're trying to navigate significant uncertainty while reaching our first union contract.
All right, we got to
That's right,
address that.
Christina.
That's a big
What?
one.
So, uncertainty. If you look at the first video that they put out, and we started with these economic demands or whatever, when it was January, roughly?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like, anyway, it's been so, I feel like we've been down here for 3 years. The same spiel that she's saying right now with this one was the same spiel she used for the first one. Uncertain economic times, all this, all that. Look, I get it. Things have changed. The White House changed. The whole economic structure of the world is changing. We get that. We understand that. That's why we're trying to work with you. But at the same time, your company, regardless of what you say, Volkswagen is always in the green. Whether it's $1 or 20 billion or 25 billion, it's always in the green. I mean, isn't that what the point of a business is to be in the green, regardless?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is uncertainty in this business, in this industry, is perpetual. It never ends, right? If it's not weird tariffs, it's a global plague, right? If it's not that, it's global terrorism. If it's not that, it's I don't know, price of steel goes up or goes down,
Or Dieselgate.
well, yeah, or your company screws up, or there will never be a situation where Volkswagen can come to the table and say, listen, we can perfectly and accurately predict what our stock prices are going to do from now for the next 500 years. So uncertainty is not an excuse to bring to the bargaining table to say, we can't pay you what you're entitled, what you've earned, because we might lose a share down the road.
It's part of our industry, and everybody's dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
And they've always been able and successful to get through that. You've seen it, like you've mentioned before, and Angel mentioned before, over the years. There's always been something, and that they've been very creative at coming up with solutions for those issues, and they've still been able to turn a profit, like big profits, over those years. And you can look back; the financial statements are there. There's profit to be made, and they're making sure that they're making it, regardless of the situation you're in. And you can currently see that it's the same thing. But it's really nice and easy for them to use that as another reason why it's slowing down and why they can't make the progress that we're looking for.
All right. Well, so they're making less cars. I don't care. They can still pay me what I'm worth to make the cars that they are making, right? I mean, saying that times are uncertain so we can't give you a good contract is horseshit.
All businesses use that. I mean, I've been in the food industry, bargaining table. I've been at the beer industry, bargaining table. And it's constant. They say, we're facing changes and stuff, but there's always change in business, regardless of what. There's change on the floor. There's change in the market. There's always constant changes everywhere. They're always trying to change your processes, right? I mean, this is a playbook that all companies use, but it just seems to be harping on it even more because when we started in September to now, things have changed. And their biggest thing is they're scared of the tariffs and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. That's why you hear of moving more work over here and whatnot. So moving more work over here, doesn't that pose more work? Isn't that, to use layman terms, better?
Well, and that brings up a good point too, is uncertain just means unknown, right? It means it's not written, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean the outcome is going to be bad. There's always uncertainty. As I said, it's perpetual, right? But all too often, for the case of Volkswagen, is the uncertainty turns out to go in their favor.
Yeah.
Right?
They know how to make adjustments.
They're just not passing that windfall onto the people that earn it for them.
And at the same time, they are presenting a message to the shareholders that is a good message, right?
Yeah.
Hey, don't worry. We're going to get through this. We're going to be just fine. We're going to still make billions of dollars.
That's right.
You're going to get a share of that. And then the week after that, we get the message, well,
we're broke.
we don't have the money.
Yeah.
We're broke.
We're broke.
All right, let's see what other...
Be begging on a corner in a minute.
Despite these challenges, we have worked well as a team, improving our quality performance and efficiency. Our strength as a team supports us through these tough economic conditions.
Can I just say,
I'm confident.
That thing when we work as a team, I don't
strengths as a team
feel lately that, like, every day it seems working conditions are getting worse. Yeah. They've reduced our manpower. They've increased our workload. They've decreased the amount of time we have to do it in. Now they shut us down for a week. Like, I don't feel like they appreciate any of my colleagues.
I think the efficiency means less people doing the same output. That's what he was just talking about.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not doing it in such a way that makes me feel like I'm part of a team.
Yeah, they use words like that, team, to make you feel important, to make you feel happy. Oh, we're a big happy family, blah, blah, blah. But
It's a lot of business speak.
Basically, it's all it is.
Save that shit for the shareholders.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
This is why the message is always the same every video, basically. It's always talking about the same thing.
They don't issue messages to shareholders. They just give them checks. That's all they do. Here you go.
Yes.
Promise them good times ahead. Tell the workload.
Yeah, money.
Tell the workforce how terrible it is, and then they go to the shareholders meeting like, it's smooth sailing ahead, guys. We got it.
That right there. With this conversation, what I don't understand, right, is you can be against whatever the union is, whatever. That's fine. That's cool. You're gonna get that everywhere. You get that in union shops. People get mad at the union. But what I don't understand is when people on the floor, your coworker, goes against you regardless. You know what I mean? You might not agree with the message that it presents, but it's guaranteeing you job security. It's guaranteeing you a paycheck. It's guaranteeing you a bunch of things that you don't have. Like, let's say, for instance, we weren't trying to negotiate a contract, or the UAW, whatever union wasn't voting in. If Volkswagen wanted to make a decision like, yo, we're going to just close down shop and there's nothing they can do, that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
You're done. They don't even have to give you a severance pay. And then you got these people speaking out against their coworkers. And it's mind-boggling to me, because regardless of what the message is, it's like it's still protecting you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like weird that you would vouch for somebody who doesn't give two shits about you. You're just a number. That's every company. That's fine. We get that. But to stick up for that is weird.
I agree. What else has she got to say?
The offer we currently have on the table in negotiations reward that contribution.
Everyone is eager for a deal, and we
I don't think everybody's eager for a deal. Volkswagen doesn't seem like they're very eager to get this done.
No, like I said earlier, we would have been hunkered down right now. Like, Chuck, Christina, whoever else, their bargaining team, our bargaining, we would have been passing stuff back and forth, man.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to personally bag on these people. I'm sure they're fine people, but and I'm sure they're doing what they think that they're supposed to be doing. I'm not blaming the individuals that you guys are negotiating with, right?
No.
I'm blaming the company. It's the company that's putting them in this situation. And maybe it's because they don't know what they're doing. This is their first time to ever have to be in this situation.
Outside influences, too. You got to
probably some of that, too. But it's ridiculous. Clearly, the company does not want us. They're not eager to close this deal. Anyway, what else? We should just about done. It's only a 2-minute video.
We are very close to our last, best, and final offer. As Henning said, what we have on the table is a strong offer, one that reflects your hard work and dedication. We know you and your families depend on these jobs, and we're working hard to make them even better. Thank you for your patience, your dedication, and your trust.
Angel.
Yeah, we made a video about this.
You did?
We dropped it on
Last Best and Final.
Yeah, the Last Best and Final. She said we're close to it. And I mean, all that's just speak.
But she said something very similar, and maybe it was not the last video, but the video before that. They said we're getting close to our last offer.
If not the next one, then the one following that, it's coming within these next couple of passes. It's going to come.
But to be clear, that's just the thing they say.
Yes.
There's no legal power behind it. It's just something that they're saying to manipulate the masses.
Pretty much.
It's a tool in the tool. It's a play fake.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
I see why they would try that, because, right away, people are going to be like, oh, no, they're not going to offer no more. What's going to happen? They're going to lock us out or whatever the case may be. And it's not. It's not. As long as you're still talking, as long as we're still negotiating, they are required to negotiate. It's law, labor law, NLRB. It's right there in black and white. Look it up.
It's a strategy to put more pressure on the membership, on the bargaining committee, just to see if they can get them to go for less than what's on the table, trying to get them to sell short. And just to, we're so tired of this. Just been dragging on for so long. Let's just go with what they've got, which they're very unclear to what they've actually got, right? They don't want to go into detail on that. So, but it's a way for them to try to put pressure on, which is why it's so important for us to educate on Last Best and Final Offer, which is obviously what we're doing, and it's been talked about, and it needs to be talked about. Billy just got in the room. Billy just came out of
in here. What do you guys
a
say?
meeting, and he's got
the
something
kid.
to say.
Well, I think it's funny when we look at the Last Best and Final strategy. Every time that we've gotten an offer, I've heard membership say, hey, this is good, we should take it. Hey, this is the best we can get. And we still see the company moving. Even though they call it a last best and final offer, does not mean that it is, in fact, the last best and final offer. Mm-hmm. The membership on the floor is the one that dictates that on whether or not they vote to ratify or not to ratify. So the company's going to come at us with some terms like last best and final, but what we have to remember is that we are ultimately the deciding factor on whether or not that's a good enough offer for the membership when the membership votes on it, or if it's not good enough. So we're going to hear that, and that's tactics. And it's funny because we talk about these union tactics and the union playbook. And doing this for 9 months, we've seen the language from the company, and now it's almost like they're going through the motions. Mm-hmm. They don't actually mean it. It's just, somebody told me I need to put out this video, so here we are going through the motions. It's almost, there's no sincerity in it. And honestly, they're just repackaging what they gave to us in February. It's nothing new. It's 3-card money where it's a shell game. You move it from here to there and back to there, and look, you got something new. And It's the same amount of money.
Now, she didn't specifically say this in the video, but I get the impression that when she's talking about their offer, that she's still talking about that conditional offer.
I guess in some ways it is the same offer. It really hasn't changed much from what they put on the traditional offer to the conditional, and now it's a traditional offer again with everything from the conditional. A lot of confusing terms and back and forth, but they still haven't met the mark yet.
All right. Well, that's our recap, I guess, of their offers. Anybody have any last thoughts? Anything they want to add?
Don't waver and think all of a sudden, oh, it's gonna get bad or it's gonna, just stick by your crew, stick by your bargaining committee, because we're not doing you wrong. We're not gonna do you wrong in any way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. All these demands that we've bargained came from you guys. We didn't throw anything in the mix, like, we didn't have any personal demands that we put in there. Everything came from you guys, and we've been fighting hard as hell to keep everything that you guys wanted on the table. I mean, obviously, we got to let go of some things. I mean, because they let go of some things.
It's bargaining, yeah.
Bargaining works, 101. We're not asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars. All we're asking for is the standard that's in this country. Regardless of cost of living, you can't tell me that Spring Hill, Tennessee cost of living is higher than Chattanooga. You can't tell me that it's higher than Kentucky. I mean, these are plants in the South. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, even Mercedes boosted their workers' wages up because they didn't want to deal with the UAW. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and I can tell you, coming from up north, living down south, cost of living is pretty damn close. Yeah. Not New York, obviously, but like comparable to Chicago. Chicago's a little higher, obviously, but it's not that far apart. So if they want to use the cost of living angle, sorry to tell you, 2025, the game has changed.
Really?
You guys keep coming back to me looking like I know and I have something to say.
You do.
You always got
came
something
in the
to
room
say.
for that.
Well, the only thing that I'll have to say on this latest offer from the company is they're moving towards a last best final. They're not there. There's still more money to put on the table. You're going to hear more communications from us and the company. We're making progress. We're taking steps forward. If you think where we were at in September when we started this to where we are now, it's night and day. It's going to be that much better working here. So just be patient, because now we're to the toughest part of the contract, bargaining the money. Just like you don't want to pay more for stuff, the company doesn't want to pay more for stuff. That's why we got to stand united in solidarity and let the company know what we will and will not settle for. So that gets back to membership on the floor, just coming together and standing united.
By the way, the quicker that you guys that are listening to this get fired up and get your fellows fired up, like, we got to start making noise all the time, all day, every day. Companies watching us. I keep getting told this from people in and around the bargaining team, that every day the company's taking our temperature of where we're at, and
They got to come out, speak up, and be loud about it. It's very important for that fair contract that we will get. I think Angel said it best. We won't settle for less, I think was the end of your video. Yeah. We are the UAW, and we will get our fair contract and our fair share. We are not at last best final. It's on our terms. We will continue to fight. We're not stopping. And I think it's also very important for our membership on the floor to reach out to us with any questions that they have. That's why we do stuff like we're doing now. You came up with this, to do the podcast to inform our membership, and that's very important. We also need to get their feedback on that, on the concern that they have when it comes to last best final. If you have questions on that, you have to let your voice be heard. Come out, speak to us, comment if you can on videos, wherever it's posted. It's very important to get that feedback as well.
Hey, and let us know what you think about this video, this concept of critiquing their offer, their video. If you like it, if it makes sense to you, we'll keep doing it.
Like I said, just hang in there, people. We got you. We understand. Come see us anytime. Even if we're home, call any one of us. We'll meet you. That's how we do it. You want to talk about transparency? We'll give you the real transparency, not you matter to us. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can't say it better than that. All right, this is Fireside 42. We're out.